Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learning English Studio, where we make learning English simple, practical, and fun. I'm Amelia, and I'm really excited about today's episode because we're going to talk about something you can use every single day.
Hello, Amelia. Hello, everyone. I'm James, and I'm excited too. Today's topic is really fundamental to speaking English naturally.
That's right, James. We're going to talk about how to describe your day using the present tense. This is something that English learners often struggle with, but once you master it, it makes your English sound so much more natural.
Absolutely. Before we dive in, though, I want to remind everyone to please subscribe to our podcast if you haven't already, and don't forget to click that like button and share our podcast with your friends who are learning English too.
Yes, please do share. It really helps us reach more learners and keep creating content for you. Okay, James, shall we get started?
I'm ready when you are, Amelia. This is going to be good.
Great. So let's start with the basics. When we talk about our day using the present tense, we're usually describing our daily routines or habits. For example, I wake up at 7 a.m. I drink coffee in the morning, or I work from 9 to 5.
That's so true, and I think what confuses many learners is knowing when to use the present simple versus the present continuous. The present simple is for routines and habits, while the present continuous is for actions happening right now.
Exactly. So I would say I drink coffee every morning, present simple for a habit, but I am drinking coffee right now, present continuous for an action happening at this moment.
That's a perfect example, and I think it's helpful to remember that when we're describing our typical day, we almost always use the present simple because we're talking about repeated actions.
That's such an important point. So let's think about a typical day. What time do you usually wake up, James?
I usually wake up around 6:30 a.m. on weekdays. I'm definitely an early bird. What about you, Amelia?
I'm more of a 7 a.m. person myself. I need that extra half hour. So after you wake up, what's the first thing you do?
Well, the first thing I do is turn off my alarm, sometimes after hitting the snooze button once or twice. Then I get out of bed and go straight to the kitchen to make coffee. I can't function without my morning coffee.
I think many people feel that way. For me, the first thing I do is check my phone first for any important messages. Then I get up and go to the bathroom to brush my teeth and wash my face.
That's interesting. You check your phone first thing. I try to avoid my phone for the first hour of the day. It helps me start the day more peacefully.
That's actually a really good habit. Maybe I should try that. After my bathroom routine, I usually do some light stretching for about 10 minutes. It helps me wake up properly.
Oh, that's a great idea. I usually just stumble to the kitchen for my coffee. After I have my coffee, I feel more human and ready to start my day.
I know exactly what you mean. So what's next in your morning routine after coffee?
Well, I take a quick shower and then get dressed for work. I usually pick out my clothes the night before to save time in the morning. Do you do that too, Amelia?
Sometimes, but I often change my mind in the morning. After my stretching, I usually make breakfast. I'm a big fan of oatmeal with fruit and honey.
That sounds healthy. I usually just have toast with butter and jam, or sometimes a yogurt if I have time. I'm not much of a cook in the morning.
That's okay. We all have our own routines. While I eat my breakfast, I like to check the news and my emails to see if there's anything urgent.
That's smart. I usually check my emails after I get to work. For me, breakfast time is for enjoying my coffee and waking up slowly. I might listen to the radio or a podcast while I eat.
That sounds like a peaceful way to start the day. After breakfast, I usually get dressed and put on some makeup. Then I pack my bag and make sure I have everything I need for the day.
I usually do that the night before too. I'm all about making mornings as stress-free as possible. After I get dressed, I spend a few minutes tidying up the apartment, making the bed, wiping down the kitchen counter, that sort of thing.
Oh, that's a good habit. I'm usually rushing too much to do much tidying in the morning. What time do you usually leave for work?
I leave around 8:30 a.m. My commute is about 30 minutes by bus, so I like to give myself plenty of time. What about you?
I usually leave around 8:30 a.m. I work relatively close to home, so my commute is only 20 minutes by subway.
That's nice. During my commute, I usually listen to music or an audiobook. It helps me relax before starting the workday.
I do that too. Sometimes I use the commute time to practice languages. I might listen to a Spanish or French podcast. It's a great way to use that time productively.
That's such a good idea. I should try that. When I arrive at work, the first thing I do is say hello to my colleagues and make another cup of coffee. Yes, another one.
Haha, coffee lover. When I get to my office, I turn on my computer, check my calendar for the day, and make a to-do list of what I need to accomplish.
That's really organized. I usually start by checking my emails and responding to any urgent ones. Then I tackle the most important task on my list for the day.
That's a good approach. Eating the frog, as they say. Do you take a lunch break?
Yes, I usually take a lunch break around 1:30 p.m. I often bring my lunch from home, usually a sandwich or a salad. Sometimes my colleagues and I go out to grab something together.
That sounds nice. I usually take my lunch break around 1 p.m. I like to get out of the office if I can, even if it's just to walk to a nearby park and eat there.
That's a great way to get some fresh air. I often eat at my desk while catching up on news or social media, which probably isn't the healthiest habit.
We all do what we can. After lunch, I usually have my most productive hours from 2 to 4 p.m. That's when I try to do my most focused work.
For me, it's the opposite. I often feel a bit sleepy after lunch, so I save easier tasks for that time. My most productive hours are usually in the morning.
That's so interesting how we all have different energy patterns throughout the day. What time do you usually finish work?
I usually finish around 5:30 p.m., though sometimes I stay later if I have a deadline. What about you?
I usually finish around 5 p.m., but like you, sometimes I stay later if needed. After work, I often go to the gym for a quick workout before heading home.
Oh, that's a great habit. I usually head straight home after work. When I get home, the first thing I do is change out of my work clothes into something comfortable.
That's the best feeling, isn't it? Getting out of work clothes. When I get home from the gym, I take a quick shower and then start preparing dinner.
I usually relax first, maybe read the mail or check my personal emails, then I start thinking about dinner. I'm a simple cook, so I usually make something quick like pasta or stir-fry.
I enjoy cooking, so I often try new recipes. After dinner, what do you usually do?
Well, first, I clean up the kitchen. I can't stand leaving dirty dishes overnight. Then I usually relax on the sofa and watch some TV or read a book.
I'm the same about the dishes. They must be done right after eating. After cleaning up, I usually call my family or a friend to catch up. Then I might watch something on Netflix or do some hobby like drawing or knitting.
That sounds lovely. Sometimes I play video games or listen to music in the evening. It helps me unwind after a long day.
That's so true. We all need ways to unwind. What time do you usually go to bed?
I try to be in bed by 11 p.m. during the week. I need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep to function well the next day. What about you?
I'm usually in bed by 11:30 p.m. Before sleep, I like to read for a bit. Nothing too stimulating, just something light and relaxing.
That's a great habit. I usually scroll through my phone a bit, though I know I shouldn't. Then I turn off the lights and try to get to sleep.
We all have our habits, so that's a typical weekday for both of us. Of course, weekends are completely different, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. On weekends, I usually sleep in until 8 or 9 a.m. I love not having to set an alarm.
Same here. On Saturday mornings, I often go to a yoga class or meet friends for brunch. It's nice to have a more relaxed start to the day.
That sounds lovely. I usually do some grocery shopping and household chores on Saturday morning. Then I might meet friends in the afternoon or evening.
I try to get my chores done on Friday evenings so I can have Saturday mostly free. Sunday is usually my quiet day. I might read, go for a walk, or prepare for the week ahead.
For me, Sunday is often for family time or catching up on projects around the house. I always try to relax a bit on Sunday evening to prepare for the week ahead.
That's so important, isn't it? Having that transition time from weekend to weekday. Well, James, we've described our typical days, but let's think about how this helps our listeners with their English.
Good point. I think what's helpful is hearing how we naturally use the present simple to describe our routines. Notice how we say, I wake up, I eat, I work, not I am waking up, I am eating, I am working, when we're talking about our regular activities.
That's such an important distinction, and we've used lots of useful vocabulary and expressions for daily activities that our listeners can use in their own conversations.
Exactly. And we've also shown how to ask questions about someone's day, like, what time do you wake up? Or what do you do after work?
That's so true. Let's think about some key vocabulary and phrases we've used that would be particularly helpful for learners.
Good idea. We've used time expressions like in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night, and specific times like at 7 a.m.
And we've used sequence words like first, then, next, after that, and finally to show the order of activities.
We've also used frequency adverbs like usually, often, sometimes, and always to show how often we do things.
Those are all so important for describing your day naturally. And we've used lots of common verbs for daily activities like wake up, get up, eat, work, relax, and sleep.
Exactly. And I think it's helpful to note that we often use short forms like I'm for I am and don't for do not in casual conversation. It makes our speech sound more natural.
That's such a good point. Formal written English might use I do not, but in conversation, we almost always say I don't.
And I think it's also helpful to notice how we use fillers in natural speech patterns like, well, you know, and I think. These make our speech sound more natural and less rehearsed.
That's so true. Natural conversation isn't just about correct grammar and vocabulary. It's also about the rhythm and flow of speech.
Exactly. And I think it's helpful for learners to listen to how we emphasize certain words to convey meaning. For example, when I said, I can't function without my morning coffee, I emphasized can't and without to show how important coffee is to me.
That's such a great point. Intonation and stress are so important in English, but they're often overlooked by learners who are focusing on grammar and vocabulary.
Absolutely. And I think it's helpful to practice describing your day out loud, not just in writing. It helps you get comfortable with the rhythm and flow of English.
That's such good advice. Let's think about some common mistakes that learners make when describing their day in English.
Good question. I think one common mistake is using the wrong tense, using present continuous when they should use present simple for routines.
That's so true. Another common mistake is using the wrong prepositions with time, like saying on 7 a.m. instead of at 7 a.m., or in the morning instead of in the morning.
Exactly. Prepositions are so tricky in English because they often don't follow logical rules. Another mistake is forgetting to use the S ending for third-person singular, like saying he wake up instead of he wakes up.
That's such a common mistake. And I think another one is using the wrong word order in questions, like saying what time you wake up instead of what time do you wake up.
Absolutely. And I think learners sometimes use vocabulary that's too formal or too informal for the context, like saying, I partake of my morning repast instead of I eat breakfast.
That's a great example. It's important to learn vocabulary that's appropriate for everyday conversation.
Exactly. And I think it's helpful for learners to start with simple descriptions and gradually add more detail as they become more confident.
That's such good advice. You don't need to describe your day in perfect, complex sentences right away. Start with, I wake up, I eat breakfast, I go to work, and build from there.
Absolutely. And I think it's helpful to practice regularly. Maybe describe your day each evening in English, even if it's just to yourself.
That's such a great idea. It's like keeping a diary, but in spoken form, and it helps reinforce the vocabulary and grammar structures.
Exactly. And I think it's also helpful to listen to how native speakers describe their day. You'll pick up so many natural expressions and ways of saying things.
That's so true. Immersion is such a key part of language learning, and podcasts like ours are perfect for that, aren't they?
Well, I hope so. But seriously, listening to English being used naturally is one of the best ways to improve your own speaking.
Absolutely. Let's think about some different contexts where you might need to describe your day in English. It's not just in language classes, right?
Oh, definitely. You might describe your day to colleagues at work, to new friends you're getting to know, or even in a job interview.
That's such a good point. And the way you describe your day might change depending on the context and who you're talking to.
Exactly. With friends, you might be more casual and detailed, while in a job interview, you might focus more on work-related activities and responsibilities.
That's so true. And in some cultures, people share more about their personal lives than in others. It's important to be aware of these cultural differences.
Absolutely. And I think it's helpful to practice describing different types of days, not just your typical day, but also a busy day, a relaxing day, a special day, etc.
That's such a good idea. It helps you expand your vocabulary and learn to express different experiences and emotions.
Exactly. And I think it's also helpful to learn how to respond when someone describes your day. You could say things like, "That sounds busy," or "That sounds relaxing," or "Oh, that's interesting."
That's so true. Conversation is a two-way street, and knowing how to respond appropriately is just as important as knowing how to share about yourself.
Absolutely. And I think it's helpful to remember that you don't need to tell every detail of your day. Just share a few highlights that give people a sense of how your day went.
That's such good advice. It's about giving a general picture, not a minute-by-minute account.
Exactly. And I think it's also okay to say, "I had a pretty normal day," or "Nothing special happened today." If that's the case, not every day is exciting.
That's so true, and it's important to be able to express that in English too. Let's think about some more advanced vocabulary for describing different types of days.
Good idea. You could describe a day as hectic, productive, relaxing, stressful, enjoyable, or challenging.
Those are perfect, and you could use more specific verbs and expressions like, "I had back-to-back meetings all morning," or "I managed to tick off everything on my to-do list."
I like tick off. That's such a natural expression. And you could say, "I had a quiet day at the office," or "It was non-stop from the moment I woke up."
Those are great examples, and I think it's helpful to learn some idioms related to daily life, like "burn the midnight oil" or "rise and shine" to wake up and get out of bed.
Absolutely. Idioms can make your English sound much more natural and fluent. Just make sure you understand how to use them correctly.
That's such an important point. Using idioms incorrectly can sometimes sound funny or confusing.
Exactly. And I think it's helpful to practice describing your day in different tenses too, not just the present simple. You might describe yesterday using the past simple or tomorrow using the future.
That's such a good point. For example, yesterday I woke up late and had to rush to work, or tomorrow I'm going to the gym after work.
Exactly. And being able to switch between tenses confidently is a real sign of proficiency in English.
That's so true. Well, James, we've covered so much ground today, from basic vocabulary to advanced expressions, from common mistakes to learning strategies.
We really have, and I hope our listeners have found it helpful and inspiring. Remember, describing your day is such a practical and useful skill in English.
Absolutely, and it's a great way to connect with people and share your experiences. Everyone has a daily routine, so it's a topic that connects us all.
Exactly. So keep practicing, keep learning, and don't be afraid to share your daily experiences with others in English.
That's perfect advice. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us on Learning English Studio.
Yes, thank you all for listening. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into talking about your day in English. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our podcast if you found it helpful.
We'll be back next week with another useful topic for English learners. Until then, keep practicing and have wonderful days.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.